Hey Taurus, welcome back to the Guiding Chariot. I'm super excited to get this reading out, so we're gonna get started shuffling. I hope you guys are doing well. This is gonna be your love reading for the month. House rules still apply, so this will be a general love reading for all Taurus Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Cross watchers also welcome. My only ask is that you take the messages as they resonate. Don't try to force anything. If anything doesn't fit your circumstance, doesn't sit right, just means it wasn't for you. Leave that message on the table. Take the rest. All right, my lovelies. So we're going to pull some oracle cards and then, of course, dive deeper with the tarot. I've been in a real crystal vibe, so I pulled some of my favorite crystal oracles to use. I hope you guys enjoy them. You can also consider, if you really resonate, especially with this reading, if you have some of these crystals at home, they might be great tools to work with this month, especially as we're, dreaming up what we want to happen in our relationships. Oh, that was a nice high one. Just throwing that out there as a possibility. All right, Taurus, I hope you're ready. We're getting started. First card out, Orange Sapphire. Beautiful cut too. I love this card. So Orange Sapphire, we've got, I'm going to say that wrong. Chiastolite or Chiastolite? Crossroads. I believe Cancer also got this card, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure. So if you're dealing with a Cancer, it might be worth watching the Cancer reading as well. And then Tanzine Aura Quartz. Yes, great stone for psychic intuition. I have a couple pieces myself. All right, my lovelies. So, especially with yours, I feel is a little different, but especially with the Cancer reading, when I was talking about crossroads, it literally feels like a decision needs to be made somewhere at some time. And maybe for some of you, the situation hasn't arisen yet, but you will need to make a decision very, very soon. And, honestly, thinking about that and then looking at the other two cards you got, Tanzine Aura, as well as the Orange. Like, Orange Sapphire has a lot of sensuality in here. You even think of, the color orange connects to the sacral chakra. So, big time sex chakra there. But this is really about finding joy and sensuality and happiness, especially when we talk about your body, right? So for some of you, there may even be some self-love blocks that may be affecting your relationships as a whole. That may not connect to all of you. We're just kind of throwing that out there. Because Tanzine Aura does deal with... Tanzine Aura does a lot of things, if I'm really out, because it's a really high vibrational stone. But one thing it's really great at is connecting mind and body and finding spiritual balance between the two. So some of your crossroads may literally be connecting those two planes, right? Whether it's, loving yourself and loving your body and being able to embrace the present moment where you are now. Oh, little kitty hair. Connecting that with spirit, right? Finding balance between the two. Even being able to communicate like what's in your heart and what's in your thoughts may even be difficult, right? And I say difficult, not that it's hard for you to do, because I'm fairly confident that will come kind of naturally to you. But with the crossroads here, especially even the way they're sitting, we're in crossroads in the middle. It's not that it's hard for you to put this into words or put all these things into sentiment that can be expressed. It's being able to, for whatever reason. Whether you feel like maybe someone won't take it the right way, and you might, I don't want to say you'll upset someone, but, you might disturb balance within a relationship if we're already connected to someone, or if we, say something too soon, someone we're talking to might get turned off. Like, it feels like there's this, you're kind of at this point where, like, either it has to come out or I have to sit on it forever, which is not going to be comfortable and definitely not what I would recommend for you to do. But it does feel like there's this kind of concern about being that open and being that honest about your feelings, maybe. And I say feelings because we're in a love reading, so of course we're talking about emotional things, right? All right. Let's see if we can put all that together. Is that the one? There it is. I was like, I don't feel it. Okay, before we start flipping, bottom of the deck, Knight of Pentacles. So very slow moving energy. I also think of him as a very serious energy, right? Because it's so important to him. Whatever he's on his mission for, it's so important. He can't afford to take a risk and possibly jeopardize something. All right. So we have here the Page of Cups. Great card, honestly a great card. And, you know, to me this Page of Cups is making me think of this Tanzine Aura Quartz. It is a very psychic card, but it's also very reflective and intuitive, right? So this, I think, is you kind of being in your feels a little bit. Maybe doing some introspective, maybe possibly even some shadow work. But it looks like it's a little bit more of a me time moment right now, Taurus. And that is definitely not okay. You may be reminiscing a little bit as well. Because a lot of times, see that little cup in his hand, there's a little fish in it. So sometimes, you know, that fish can symbolize, you know, an existing connection. So you may be thinking about someone. Oh, excuse me. I have like a little tickle in my throat. But that can be connected to something from your past. So you may just be reminiscing about something, or honestly, some of you may be wishing for something from your past to return, or someone from your past to return. Whether it's a former relationship, could even be the way a relationship was. So if you're in a current relationship, Taurus, things may have changed and you may be wishing for things to return to the way they were versus where they are now, right? Something may have evolved and now we're kind of unsure of it and we wish we could go back. There is a need for this me time though, because this Four of Swords is all about rest and recovery and healing and finding peace, right? There needs to be a little quiet time. This can even be speaking specifically about your mental state if we compare this to the oracle cards you got earlier. You know, the mind could be running so fast, especially if it's worried or anxious about, you know, making this decision to moving beyond these crossroads. Can I do it? Can I handle it? Is this the right thing to do? There may be a need to kind of step back and pull away for a little bit. And then we have the Six of Wands. The Six of Wands is about recognition, right? And it is about victory. So I would say the best course of action for you, honestly, is to be seen and to be honest and to be upfront about things. Now do that in divine timing, right? Because we do have these cards of me time and possibly solitude and having a moment to reflect and think about things. But the goal of that is to make you strong enough to be able to express yourself fully. That's where the success comes from. This is you making that decision to be bold and put it out there and do what needs to be done. Ooh. I will say, Taurus, there must be a lot going on in your head right now, because even as we're starting to pull these cards, my mental space is totally doing the same thing, and I'm like trying to see the patterns, and it feels like the energy is just kind of like doing one of these. So whatever is going on, it definitely is something. I will say having the Page of Pentacles here makes perfect sense, because this is something that is super important, and because it's important, you want to do it the right way or the best way possible. And you're in this phase where we're trying to figure out what that really means. What direction am I supposed to take this in? All right. Center of the deck center of the spread is going to be the Three of Pentacles. This is about everything coming together, things aligning, right? Support coming in. So again, don't worry about it necessarily being done the best way possible, because all the tools, the resources you need are coming together. You have here the King of Wands. Great energy. This is about being passionate, following your heart. Your instincts are very, very strong, right? So you should be relying on them. You should be trusting them, right? Especially having this fall under the Page of Cups. This very reflective, quiet, very connected to source energy. Being, and this fueling the fire and the passions in this king. But this is about you taking action, right? We go from the Six of Wands to this King of Wands. This really is about you taking action. You are the one that has to make the decision and then act on it, right? This isn't something you get to sit and wait for someone to deliver to you. This is really dependent on your actions and what you decide to take and what you decide to leave behind here with this Eight of Swords. I don't necessarily think this is you leaving a relationship, because I don't see that this relationship necessarily has been hard. Now, for a small part of you, it may be, right? Some of this body issue things may come from, if you're in an abusive relationship, or someone who isn't valuing you appropriately, someone who causes you stress and worry, and that's why we need to take this Four of Swords. So there is a kind of train of thought for this. I'm not really connected to that, so I don't think many of you will be. But if there's one of you, or just a small minority of you that does kind of vibe with that, then you know what to do. And then again, it comes down to your course of action. Do you decide to kind of bite your lip and sit there, or do you do what's best for you, right? And find a new beginning elsewhere. Ooh, 2 kings. You guys are definitely taking charge. 3 kings. And the Lovers. Look at that. All right, so yes, big moment for you to really own the direction of your relationships, Taurus. We have 2 more kings here. So we have the King of Cups, which is about controlling your emotions, governing your heart, staying in balance, right? Because a lot of times you can see the King of Cups, kind of in the center of a storm. I always describe him as the eye of the hurricane. So no matter what emotional torrential rainfall is happening around you, you stay calm. You are the calm center while everything is spinning around you. So again, this is again knowing yourself fully, right? You started off as the Page of Cups, and then you progress to the King. So you really are leveling up in the sense of knowing yourself, and knowing what makes you happy, and knowing what you need, and then being really authentic and honest about it, right? Because then you have this King of Swords, which is, he's a strategist, he's an analyst, he's very logical, extremely practical, but this is the guy who creates the plan, right? So you really have to take charge. You really need to take the reins, Taurus. If you take anything away from this reading, right? Like, you are at a point where a decision needs to be made, and the only one who can make that decision, the only one who can move that decision forward is you, by both your thought, your intentions, and your actions. All right? And then your last card out, the Lovers. Beautiful. I will say I don't necessarily see this Lovers card as new love. Now, if you're single, of course, you're heading towards new love, because that's what you're looking for. I don't necessarily see this as coming in very soon. And I will say I am more connected to this as, an existing relationship that either, it's time for it to grow and move to another stage, or maybe things have been a little strained and maybe we feel further apart than we do closer together. I think this is really about taking the steps to repair it and moving things forward. And it's not about, like, you did something wrong, you have to apologize. I don't see here that you've done something wrong or anything like that. But it's kind of like, if we want this to come back together, if we want to heal this, if we want to repair this, someone has to make it happen. Someone's got to take the first step. And honestly, Taurus, looking at this, it's going to be you. It's going to be you, but it is possible. You can take that as confirmation for sure. Let's go through the bottom of the deck real fast before we close this out. So we talked about this Knight of Pentacles, 3 of Wands here, so seeing our intentions return, looking at our manifestations, right? Hanged Man. This is kind of what we were talking about, that kind of return to solitude, having to reflect and be introspective. So this again takes me back to that Page of Cups. And then we have the Queen of Cups. So now we have a counterpart pairing right there, King and Queen of Cups. But again, this Queen in this position is about you finding your center, finding your peace. Queen of Cups is very protective of her cup, right? And she has a vast, very deep depth of emotion. Her emotions run very deep, and they're very dark. Like, there's a lot. And when I say dark, I don't mean like dark, like, ooh, it's spooky, but dark in a sense to where they're hidden and they're deep, and they're almost unfathomable to onlookers, right? So to me, I would say this is really about your emotional space and really nurturing it for yourself. If we go a little further, it feels like we might be concerned that, okay. So those of you that really connect to maybe this relationship as being a little shaky, as being a little rocky, You know, we have the moon and the Seven of Swords, which can speak to things being hidden, things being tried to, you know, we're trying to slip things under the radar. So if you're suspicious of things like that, you know, there may be some of that. I don't necessarily feel a lot, but there may be some. But Temperance is coming in to heal that. So even though there may be concern and worry about it, we are moving past it, right? But again, I'm just going to sum it up with the Oracle cards again. But that's why we're at this crossroads. You know, we kind of have to decide, like, these are the things I felt. Can I talk about them? Is it worth talking about? Do I want to fix this? You know? So there's honestly, Taurus, it looks like there's a lot of questions that you need to be asking yourself about a current relationship or the direction you want your relationships in. What are you going to accept and tolerate moving forward? You know, what can you no longer tolerate in a relationship? And, you know, are you comfortable enough to address that in a current relationship? Because it seems like definitely something has to be done. Steps have to be taken, right? Something has to evolve. And like I said, if you take the necessary steps, it is completely doable. This isn't a lost cause if you want to repair an existing relationship. But you just have to start the process. You just have to start the process. You have to make it start. All right, my lovely Taurus. Before we wrap up, shout out to my friend Tanateu Golden Rave for her beautiful mandalas. This is her open heart mandala, so I thought it'd be perfect for opening us up and making us more receptive to love and new relationships and new possibilities. So if you want to check out her stuff, you can see her on Instagram. I also want to thank all of you for coming here and watching this video, supporting my channel. Make sure you do all that cool stuff. Hit the thumbs up button. Lets me know how the reading resonated with you. You can also feel free to reach out to me. Hit me up in the comments. DM me on Instagram at The Guiding Chariot. And if you are new, welcome. Please subscribe and hit the notification button so you can be notified when your next series of videos pops up. Until next time, Taurus, I love you. I am sending you tons of good vibes. Take care of yourself. Stay safe. I'll see you in your next video. Bye, Taurus.